All right, I think it's about to start on YouTube here in a minute. So for those of you who are listening on the actual Zoom call, there's about 20 of them now. On YouTube here in a minute. So for those of you who are listening on the actual Zoom call, there's about 20 of them now. On YouTube here in a minute. So for those of you, okay, hopefully that's streaming. Here it goes. All right. It's the first time I've actually streamed from Zoom to YouTube. So hopefully it's all going to work like it's supposed to, and you guys will be able to see it. So we're moving everything over to YouTube. We've noticed in the last couple of months, we damn near have empirical evidence that Facebook is throttling a lot of the content that we're putting out. So we're moving everything over to YouTube, and we'll just grow our channel from there. So Rob gave me a call this week and said, hey man, we need to do a life with COVID, not only business life, but personal life with COVID webinar. And I thought, that's actually a really good idea, as everyone's lives have been upended and changed. And I'll tell you, the one thing that has shocked me is this thing has gone on as long as it has. That is the one thing that I just completely didn't expect. And so as the disease begins to spread through the community, you can imagine your friends and family start to get it. You start to see your friends and family's businesses become impacted by it. So Rob reached out and said, hey, let's do this. Let's do a little interview style thing, talk about what's going on in everybody's businesses and lives that have been impacted by coronavirus. And I thought, man, that's actually a pretty good idea. So let's start with this, Rob. Let's talk about.
Hey, can you turn the video on?
Yeah, I'm on.
No, it says mine can't start.
Give me 2 seconds here. Okay, I've actually promoted you to host, so hopefully you'll be able to.
There we are. Okay, there we go.
So let's first get started and talk about where you guys are at now over at Jet and changes you've made, and are you doing anything different pre and post COVID? Is it transparent to the client, all that kind of stuff? What are you guys up to these days?
Well, I'll tell you, a number of us, and I'm not going to say who because, I don't want to put their personal business out there, but a number of us in the office have actually come down with COVID in the last month and a half. And I will tell you what we have in place at Jet Lending is, it's great. Alex came back on board back in, I think it was October of last year. And the first thing me and him sat down and discussed and said, we have got to be able to do this from anywhere in the United States. It's too much of a hassle for us to have to call in and phone in and say, hey, what's going on with this file? I want to be able to get in anywhere in the United States and be able to look at my files and see exactly what is needed, where we're at, what's the status of the progress. So we went to integrating and changing our whole system. And Alex actually did 99% of it, if not 100. He got us to a point now I can be in Russia and close a file. As long as I've got a phone and internet access, I can do anything. I can get online, I can look, I can see everything that's going on with all of our files. So that right there in a COVID environment is crucial to keeping your business running.
Well, and it doesn't necessarily have to be coronavirus, right? We got 2 hurricanes Tuesday night, so still got to be able to run business even though you're in Houston.
Yeah, and I will tell you some of the systems we use. We use Microsoft Teams now. We've switched everything over to Microsoft Teams as far as deal analysis, uploading comps, talking about a individual file, talking about final numbers or appraisals or anything. It's all done on Microsoft Teams. And then we moved our secured platform to ShareFile, Citrix ShareFile. You can access it anywhere. You send documents for signatures. You can send documents from anywhere in the United States as long as you've got the login and internet access. It is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. I can't praise Alex enough for this. He has definitely put us in a position for success no matter what happens, no matter if it's a hurricane, COVID, presidential election. It doesn't matter what it is.
Or when we get the occasional snowstorm or the hard freeze, right? Like the whole
Yeah.
world shuts down for like 3 days. So
Especially in Texas. Especially in
in
Texas.
Texas, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys y'all were already on the modernization track as early as October.
Yes.
So did you have to implement, was there a whole bunch more stuff you had to implement starting in March, or was it already pretty much, you guys were already there?
It wasn't a whole lot we had to implement. We just kind of had to shift what we were using. You know, we already had a cloud-based was a cloud-based hard drive that was at the Adjet Lending, but we could access it. But I mean, the dial-up on it and all that stuff, it was literally slow as moving as molasses.
Yeah.
And you know, we just can't do this anymore. We got to put ourselves into a position that we are successful no matter what, because there's no telling what could happen. You know, we go to Vegas for trips to the Hard Money Lending Association or Private Money Lenders Association that's out there every year. And, you know, we're there for almost a week. And you can't shut down operations when you've got your loan officers over there and everybody. Still got to be able to do that kind of stuff. And that was when me and Alex kind of and the whole team kind of sat down in Vegas and said, hey, this is already helping us.
Mm-hmm.
So Alex kind of got everything started very, very quickly and shifted us to that first part of New Year. We just said, hey, we're going, you know, January 1st, 2020, we're going all digital.
So I know one question you guys would probably get, because you do host that big event once a month. How is not being able to not only host that event, but participate in all these other real estate events, how has that impacted y'all's business? You probably saw a temporary little drop, but then after that, it was almost probably about business as normal, right?
We didn't even see a drop, Jason, to be honest with you. No drop at all. I can honestly say that we have been consistent throughout the whole time of COVID. As far as loans closed, as far as the amount of clients that we're reaching, because of, and I got to toot Alex's horn again, him coming on board and us doing webinars, us always constantly being on social media, always having a presence on social media and doing things like we're doing today and talking to and letting investors see that we're real people and that, you know, we want to help you be successful in your real estate ventures.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, honestly, I did not see not 1 minute of drop off time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I can tell you there's probably not a lot of businesses that can say that, right? Where there's been, you know, COVID drops off and they're just in a real rough place. So we got our first question here. What's your interest rate now for rehab projects?
Interest rates are for rehab projects for short-term loans are anywhere from 9.9 to 13.9 on interest rates, probably 3 to 4 points up front. The way that we figure that out is a full picture of the property. We want, and the client as well. We want to have a good snapshot. And then we go into our loan committee and say, hey, how many deals has this guy done? What's his credit score? You know, yes, it is asset based, but we want to have a good picture of the type of client we're dealing with, how much cash reserves you have, and is this a good rehab? And then we make our decision upon that. Now, we also ask up front. This is something that most lenders don't do. We ask, hey, where do you want to be with your rate and term? Now, sometimes we get ridiculous answers. I want to be as low as 5%. Can't get that on hard money. You just cannot. If you're looking for that, you need to go build a relationship with a bank or somebody. I don't know many banks that are going to give you 5% on this stressed house.
Well, so that, you know, there's actually a good point. We saw a lot of banks pull back that month to 6 weeks after the first closure, and we were still closing loans with you guys. So it was amazing to me that the banks may have real low rates, but when there's a long, tough hill to climb, a lot of times they pull back. They're the ones first ones to pull back. So if you don't have a multi-decade relationship with a bank, a lot of times they're not lending as soon as they see a little bit of problem in the waters, if you will. Yeah.
And I think in June we closed almost 2 million, something like that in total real estate with Jet Lending?
Yeah, we got to be close to 2 million. It was somewhere around there, something ridiculous. I'm here in the Heights. We bought a 4 unit in the Heights. We bought Chapman and Weiss, which was a small apartment at like 700,000. This thing over here was 4 and some change. And then I'm trying to remember what else we bought. We bought 2 or 3 other little things. So yeah, I mean, it was no stopping for us. And that's another good question for you. New investor versus more experienced guys. I assume the experienced guys just keep going. Like they just, how many new investors are you working with versus more experienced investors in the middle of
that? You know what? We kind of saw that coming. The new investor, I've had very few. They're still coming around and they're still hungry, trying to find deals. But there's the seasoned investor right now that's actually they're cleaning up because they know exactly they know what the market's doing, and that they're not afraid to get out there and buy these rentals or buy some flips that otherwise weren't handled correctly. I will tell you that I've seen a few of these properties that that were almost finished or kind of started, and the investor just backed out and said, I'm leaving this project, and somebody else has come in and take it over, and we've done loans on those. I've seen that for flips.
We've just to give you guys a quick plug here. We do a market update Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We actually did it every day when coronavirus first kicked off. We did it for like almost 3 months straight. Now we do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I've got one today at noon, and I'm looking over here, and home prices are up 26% month over month. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So I've said this for a while now. They're not building enough property, and not enough people are getting loans. But the people who are, and the ones that are building, the prices keep going up and up and up. The demand is ridiculous right now.
I love your catchphrase. I love it. If you think real estate's expensive now, just wait.
Yeah. It's funny. We're going to do a photo shoot later today. We're going down to our beach houses, and somebody made me a shirt that on the back, that's what it says. So we're going to do a big event. Rob doesn't know. Rob Orfino doesn't know. So don't tell him. Maybe he's not watching this. But in any case, we got some T-shirts made. Let's see. Another question here. What are you seeing or hearing in terms of private money lenders? Has that tightened up some? I know some of them in the past had rates that were close to hard money lenders. So I can give you what I see on the private money side. I saw a lot of private money lenders disappear right after coronavirus happened. They're just as scared as the newbie investor is. And truth be told, a lot of private lenders out there are either brokers for other hard money lenders, or they're lending their own money or their friends' money at hard money rates. Yeah. And the problem with that is not the rate. The problem is you may go to that guy and say, hey, I need to borrow $300,000 to do a flip. Closes in, I don't know. We're still trying to get it under contract, may close next month, the month after. Once you get under contract, to call the guy, he's got no money. Oh, I already lent all my money out. So you spend all this time establishing a relationship with somebody who's not a professional borrower or a professional lender. And I think that's one of the big reasons we work exclusively with Jet, is because we've already got a relationship with you guys, and we call you up and go, hey, Rob, I got another one. You go, okay, send me over the details, and then we just get it going. So I've never called up there and you guys have run out of money. So you must have a printing machine in the back room somewhere.
I had to bring some of the machine home.
There you go. That's it. That's the money printer, right?
That's the money printer right over there. You know what, Jason? When COVID first hit, I saw a number of people that were jumping ship and coming. Hey, look, I got to close this. I had literally had 5 deals. I think I counted 5 deals. Somebody calls me and says, I've got to close this in 2 days. I'm like, you talking about a heart going up, everything? Like, what? 2 days? At least 5 of them, I got all of them closed within 2 to 3 days. The lender, it was all private money lenders. They all backed out. They all said, no, I'm not doing this. And we got those deals closed. A lot of people build these relationships with these private money lenders. We're a private money lender. Yeah, we're saying we're hard money, but the only reason we say that is because we're brick and mortar and we lend on a hard asset. That's the only reason it's called hard money. but it's still our money that we're lending out. We have bank lines that we have that Eddie signs a personal guarantee on it just as well, and we're still lending this money out. Now, is it more expensive than private money? There's a cost for availability, There's a big, huge difference between calling Jet Lending and always them being available for you and calling a private money guy and say, oh, man, I've got all my money lent out right now. But if you give me, 2 weeks, I can get you going on a project. You've lost that deal.
Well, so let's talk about the other side of private money. When a hurricane's coming into town, you guys don't call me 5 times a day. Hey, have you seen that there's a hurricane coming? I said, oh, are you guys ready? I mean, and it's like, yeah, everything's fine, man. But I get from my private money lenders all the time. They get, they're freaked out about this machination in the marketplace, or there's a storm coming, or that. And it's like, especially after storms come through, we've had this where parts of the city are flooded, and I got private lenders that are calling me saying, Jason, have you gone out there and looked at the property? I'm like, look, man, I have more financially at stake than you do. Just trust me. As soon as the water recedes, I'll be the first one out there and I'll call you. But I'm like, but we got flood insurance anyway, so who cares?
Yeah.
But, in any case, it's always been kind of funny when working with private lenders. Everyone thinks it's kind of the end all be all, if you will, of borrowing. And I'm like, that's not really the case. It's much easier for you to establish a relationship with a hard money lender and work with them exclusively than it is to work with some of these private guys. One of my questions here, and I can't see the name, they said, can you give more insight on why business hasn't dropped? Also, what are your predictions of the real estate landscape a year from now? That is probably not best for this webinar. I do one at noon, and that's more suited for that. I just dropped the link in for the noon webinar because that webinar is a full-on hour. It's all analytics, it's all data and all that stuff. And I don't really want to turn this into that. This is a good question for you, Rob. What are your recommendations for first-time investors? And probably add a little bit of advice in there, if you're getting started now in the middle of coronavirus.
I will say this for first-time investors: if you're sitting behind a computer waiting on the deal to come in, stop what you're doing. Because to be a good investor, you have to learn and build your team around you. If you're just sitting behind a computer because you're on somebody's, blast list and that seems like a great deal, and you're a first-time investor and you don't know the first thing about rehabbing a property, you don't know the first thing about hard money, you don't know the first thing about a title company or who to go to. Just looking at emails and saying this is a great deal, 9 times out of 10, you got to do your homework. Now, I can help you do your homework by analyzing that deal, and we do. And what me and Alex talked about this week, we're going to create a marketing video that kind of shows how we pull comps and the loan committee, and just do a commercial that says, "Hey, this is what we do for our clients." Now, as a first-time investor, I said build your team. You need to find a good title company. You need to find you need to find a good hard money loan company that you're actually, can build a relationship with. You need to have a good insurance company. You need to actually research and learn how hard money works, because if you buy the property under the hard money model, then you'll probably never fail. My best advice is, you need to be out there being the wholesaler yourself. Learn how to be the wholesaler so you're getting those deals ahead of the wholesaler, and you don't have to rely on the email coming in.
I just posted a link. This is to the Mr. Texas Real Estate website. There's a pop-up there. If you just give the website a second, you sign up for our email list. Every one of our emails has all of our vendors at the bottom of it. So Jet is obviously one of those. If you're looking for a good title company, good insurance company, so just sign up for our email list. When you get hit with one of our emails, scroll down to the bottom, and there's links to everybody that we use.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, joining Mr. Texas Real Estate's mastermind group is not a bad way to learn as a new investor.
True.
So I had to give a little plug there for Jason.
I like it. I like it. So
if you're a new investor and you think that you need some help, his mastermind group will help you.
Yeah.
You got access to Jason anytime. Maybe you want to pitch that a little bit.
Well, I mean, what we do is we call it a mastermind group, but it's really a work group. And what we do is we sit down with each one of the folks that are. So let me talk about what the requirements of the mastermind are. You got to make your household has to make about $100,000 a year. You need to have a credit score of at least 700, and you need to have about $40,000 to $50,000 in cash ready to deploy in real estate. And if you don't have those three things, you're not a good fit for our mastermind. And Rob, I'd love to get your comment on this. The reason we picked those three criteria is that if you don't have those, it's really hard to be successful in this business, right? You got a credit score below 700. I mean, can you work with it? Yeah, maybe a little bit. If you got a job, let's say $80,000 a year, not 100, maybe you can work around that a little bit. If you got 20 grand instead of 40 or 50, there's some, you can work a little bit around that. But if you're not close on all those three things, man, it's tough to get a loan. It's tough to have the reserves to buy a deal. It's tough to, if the property sits on the market a little bit longer, are you able to make the mortgage payments? I mean, it just makes it a lot harder. So those are the people we're really looking for. You got to have, decent income, a little bit of money, and some decent credit. And then we can take and get you prepared on the technical side to start buying deals. But those are the kind of folks that we're looking for in our group. And basically what we do is we sit down with you and say, hey, what do you want to buy? What are your goals? Okay, great. Let's get you 2 duplexes this year and get you a flip. Or let's get you a couple of quadplexes and get you an Airbnb. Or if you're really ready to go to the next level, let's get you an apartment complex. So that's basically what we do. And it's very work group focused. There's not a lot of, hand clapping and, everybody's singing about how they're going to be a millionaire. If you've ever been to any of these other real estate seminars, this is not what we do. So it's very much more like a work group than anything else. So
Yeah, I'll also second that. As a new investor, you need to understand how the investment process works. And if you don't have any skin in the game, build up your savings. I mean, take a year, 6 months, whatever. Stop going to Starbucks. Stop going and eating out. Save up some money, put it back, become a minimalist or whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying that right, but save as much money as you can and then get started in the real estate game. Because Jet Lending, we have a requirement. We have a requirement for every investor that closes a loan that you have some cash. Now, that does not mean you have to have 100% cash in the game. We do a lot of deals that are 100% financed. What I'm saying is that we want to see that you have enough cash to handle the deal. Is exactly what Jason was talking about. We want to see that you have enough cash to make payments for 6 months and at least advance some of the repairs.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times you go out and buy a deal and your rehab goes over by $4,000, $5,000, $6,000.
Yeah.
Which now, don't get me wrong. This is the first time you're hearing this. Going over on a rehab $5,000, $6,000, maybe even $10,000 sounds like a lot. 10 grand's nothing in real estate. I can tell you right now, 10 grand is nothing. So if you don't have adequate reserves, you get hit with, I got to put on a new roof. I got to do, sub-slab plumbing. I need to rewire the house. And even inspectors miss stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So reality is that you got to have a little bit of money for those liquidity events that happen in your real estate career. However,
I call them the by the ways.
Oh, by the way, that's funny. Oh, by the way, it needs a new roof. What's funny? It's fun. I like how you say that because I've never had this happen. I've never gotten a bid. I get all these quotes together and we got roof, foundation, HVAC, all that stuff. I have not ever in almost 1,000 houses had somebody come to me and go, oh, Jason, the HVAC? Yeah, we really didn't have to replace that. Turns out it was old, but it works really well. Or, we budgeted for a roof and oh, by the way, we don't need a roof. The roof is actually pretty good. So it's always a complete opposite, right? They always need to be. I never get a phone call that says we don't have to do something. Somebody asked how much it is to join. We take on somewhere between 3 and 5 new members a month, and it is $10,000 for the first year and $7,500 for the second year. So again, this isn't.
That's not bad, guys.
I'll tell you, it's
not bad. I know a lot of people that charge a lot more for a lot less.
A lot less. So
a lot less, and they don't help you like Jason will.
Well, and I'll tell you, you can't hide from us either.
Yeah.
You can't get in the mastermind and hide and pretend like you're not doing anything because we'll start finding like, hey, Bob, we haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on? So I think our purchase rate and our mastermind's at 9 months old now. 94.6% of the folks in our group have bought a property. And if you bought a property, I can tell you right now, you've already made your 10,000 bucks back. So we got a pretty high success rate here.
The guy, Paul, that you sent me, he's a part of your mastermind, isn't he?
Yeah.
So not going to mention the other company, but we're pulling him out of that one and trying to get that thing closed by next week.
Okay.
Had a bad experience already.
Oh, it's kind of funny when you start teaching others, particularly adults. They're almost like, where you tell the kid, oh, you have a daughter now, so you'll go through this process. Honey, the stove's hot, and then, oh, Dad, it's hot. Yes, it is hot. So we get some people that join our group, and I tell them, like, stove's hot. Don't touch that. It's gonna be hot. And they get stung, and they go, oh, it's hot. Now it's not as bad because you're standing right there. It's not like they fell into the oven, right? So, and we can usually get them out of some stuff. But yeah, we get it's fascinating. A lot of the guys in our group, I shouldn't say a lot, but they build these portfolios with one business model, and they come to us and they're like, what do I do with all this? And we're like, okay, sell these, refinance these, go buy this. So there's a lot of there's a significant number of the folks in our group that have got a lot of experience. We got some people that have never bought a property all the way up to 400 doors that they currently own. So we got kind of a mix of everybody.
It's funny, and we can move on to something else, but the same company that he originally went with, there's a guy that does a testimonial on my YouTube channel, Jet Lending, and he mentions them by name, and I'm like, you can't do that.
Oops. We don't want to start a war here, guys.
No, I'm not in that kind of business. I don't want to upset anybody. So,
well, I was having lunch with Eddie yesterday and Alex, and we were talking about. Actually, no. Let me see. Oh, Sam just put a big question here. Okay. Good morning, guys. I have an 830 credit score, real estate experience and sales, but not on hand. Okay. I'm positioning to pursue small apartments. What are the available programs to buy the asset with little cash? I like to stay liquid and would rather spend the cash to add value than possible. Your advanced. Look, I don't know what your definition of little cash is.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll tell you. We're all in between Houston and Corpus Christi. We're averaging all in rehab, purchase, everything at about $50,000 a door. Now, the small apartment space is very different than big apartments. Especially if your loan is below $1 million. So it is I will tell you right now, it's a relatively cash intensive business. You're going to have some skin in the game. If you are a single family rental guy, and this will blow you away. I'll never forget the first time I did a small apartment, it was a 26 unit. And I'm talking to a bank, and the bank said, well, what experience do you have with 26 unit apartment complexes? I said, well, we flipped and wholesaled over 1,000 homes in 6 years. And they said, no, what about small apartments? And I'm like, well, I do single family. They're like, no, this is small apartment. Like there's a big difference. But in the eyes of a lender, there is. It's like, we want to see you've got experience in small apartments. So regardless of how successful you are in single family, even though you and I both know a lot of that stuff translates, it doesn't necessarily in the eyes of a lender. I'll give you a great example. So we just bought our first commercial building. It's our office building. Our rehab's almost done. It's a beautiful building. Well, now I'm getting the invites from all the commercial brokers to go, have dinner, go on hunting trips, all that other stuff. But before I bought that building, I was just some lowly little single family apartment guy. Yeah. Now that I bought the office building, I'm a commercial real estate investor. So until you get that street cred, all the stuff you did before, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but in the eyes of a lender and other professionals, it doesn't matter, if that makes sense. So your first couple of apartment deals, you're going to have to use some cash because they're just not going to lend you 100% regardless of how cheap you got it. Like, I don't care how cheap you got it, right, Rob? I mean, that's probably the best way to put it.
You're going to have 10 to 15% in the game. It's just how it is. We're preparing you. And then this is what I was going to say. I can sniff the guys out that are serious about the small apartments. I'll tell them up front, hey, the appraisal is going to be somewhere around $3,000. And when they say, wow, I lose interest at that point in time. If they say, okay, let's get this done, then I know they're serious.
Yeah.
The first thing out of their mouth is, it's really that expensive? I'm like, it's a commercial appraisal.
And that's where it starts.
That's where it starts.
3G is where it starts.
If that scares you, I'm not interested in talking to you very much anymore. Go get you a single family house, and then we can do some business.
Yeah, if you do a syndication, just the syndication, inspection, appraisal, you're going to be in 10, 12 grand.
Yeah.
It's easily $1,000 a door.
Yeah.
Just in due diligence before you even decide if you want to pull the trigger. So you really got to know what you're doing. Yeah, appreciate the answer. Agree with you. 10 to 20% is reasonable. Then Sam, I think that's a reasonable expectation.
Yeah.
You're going in and do $1 million deal. You're going to need at least 200 grand.
Well, I mean, your long-term lender is going to have you at 20 to 30%. So if we put you in at 10, you've got automatic equity going into when you refi out of ours. And, you know, it's a big misconception because people will call me and say, hey, I need to close on this fast apartment deal. Well, does it need rehab? No, this is fully occupied. Well, I may not be your guy for that. You know?
Yeah, why would you do? I don't understand why they do that anyway. Because you and I both know nobody fire sales a performing apartment complex, right? I mean, no one. They do it in single family all the time, but nobody does it multifamily.
No, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with the deal.
Right.
Always. So.
Well, Rob, it's occupied.
Yeah, it's occupied.
But it doesn't mean it's economically occupied, right?
How much cash flow is it bringing in every month?
Yeah, that you can actually show with bank statements, not your lying tax returns and pro formas. I could tell you guys stories for years on crazy stuff I've seen in small apartments. Fourplex though, you can leverage at 90+%. No, fourplex is considered single family.
Yeah.
And they're not going to let you leverage that up to 90%. I know you're not a Fannie Mae guy, but what is Fannie Mae on a quad? It's got to be 70, 75% maybe.
I don't know. I really don't. I'd have to ask. I think it's 70, 75%. Yeah.
And truth be told, we've got a better program. You guys do non-QM.
Yeah.
And that's how we do a lot of our loans. So non-QM is non-Fannie Mae, non-Freddie Mac, non-government sponsored loans. And that's what we do with our fourplexes, duplexes, triplexes. Just a lot easier to get the loans done. And they understand the cash flow component better than your Fannie Mae lender. So
they don't dig into your tax returns. They don't dig into your bank account. So where did this deposit come from? I need a letter that says your mom gave you this money in 1957. You know,
Yeah.
They don't do all that stuff.
yeah,
So-
that's one thing you'll find out about our group is we very quickly get into the commercial space. And that's working with Jed is obviously, I mean, really what you guys do, y'all are commercial lenders.
Yeah.
You're bridge financing for commercial lending. You do small apartments and you do single family. And they also do Airbnb, guys. We actually bought an Airbnb from them last year. That yellow house you guys took back, we bought that one, rehabbed it. It's San Leon, if you remember that one, Rob.
I remember San Leon.
Did a beautiful rehab on it, and the thing is constantly full. I mean, it's turned out to be such a great deal. And I think we're in the middle of refinancing an entire Airbnb portfolio right now between that and all the stuff we got on the beach. But that's the best way to do small apartments. So what else, Rob? Like, do you want to talk about like the personal stuff with coronavirus, or you just want to stick to the business stuff? I mean, what do you want to do?
Talk a little bit personal and then go back to a little bit of business. I just kind of want to give a little forethought to why it's important to handle yourself the right way if you are to come down with COVID. First off, this is just my experience. I'm not going to get political about this. I'm not going to talk about politics. So if you're watching expecting to get into an argument about politics, that's not going to happen. Guys, the rapid test, in my opinion, is 100% ineffective. And this is my opinion only. I will tell you a circumstance. First, let's just start back when I started getting symptoms, which was 2 Tuesdays ago. I was at home. I had a real rapid heartbeat. I felt weak, tired, and my heart heart was beating out my chest for no reason. I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm going to go get checked out. You know, something's not right. Went to the little ER, American ER around here, got checked out. They said, hey, you're presenting some signs of COVID. Have you been around anybody? I said, no, I haven't been around anybody. I don't think that I've been around anybody. I've gone to work. And as far as protecting my family and myself, I went to work and home every day. There was no venturing out. My wife went to the grocery store. She would go and get the delivery to the car. What do they call it? Curbside. Curbside. We were as cautious as we could be. So I went in, got a rapid test that night. It came back negative. The very next morning, I got a phone call from family member of both of them. They had popped hot. They were positive for COVID. I was like, well, okay, I'm just going to wait. Didn't go back to work, was very cautious, waited, went to my regular doctor the very next day, told them what had happened. They said, okay, well, you need to wait a couple of days. If you start having symptoms anymore, go get tested. I'm going to so there's a test called the PCR test.
Yep.
But keep in mind, I've already got one negative. Got the PCR test done, which is, it's a nasal swab, but it takes anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to get back. Some are 3 to 5 business days. Got that done, laying in bed, 12 o'clock, my chart clicks. I told my wife, I was like, we got to separate immediately. It came back positive. I was like, wow. So she went upstairs. I stayed downstairs for 8, 9, 10 days. 10 days straight, we stayed separated. A mask in the house for everybody, keeping away from each other. She was in the kitchen. I was in the kitchen. Lysol behind everything I touched. I mean, literally, I felt like I was in a lab, just wiping stuff down. Because, I got a baby. I've got a 7-year-old, and I've got my wife that's a dental hygienist. I did not want her to get infected. And as of now, nobody has been infected. Went about 10 days, and I said, okay, I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm going to go get tested again. Went and got a rapid test done again. This one came back negative as well. Also got the antigen with a finger prick. That one came back negative within 15 minutes. I said, something's not right. I still don't feel 100%. I'm going to go get a PCR test done. Went back, got a PCR test. 2 days later, still positive. All right, guys, the reason, in my own opinion, that this thing is spreading is because people are going and getting a false sense of security and saying, oh, I got a rapid test done. I'm negative. I don't have to wear a mask. Guys, it's important that you protect yourself, you wear a mask, you do not trust, in my opinion, the rapid test we live in a society that everybody wants it hot, fast, and in a hurry. I want my results right now. Well, that's not necessarily the right thing to do in this type of situation. And that's my own personal opinion, and we'll leave it at that. As far as symptoms, I have a stuffy head. The loss of taste and smell was definite. It's really progressively coming back. Loss of taste and smell, head cold, kind of stuffy head, just kind of felt like you had a balloon in your head.
Are you still you're lethargic? Have you gotten your energy level back yet?
My energy levels are back. Everything's coming back slowly. I had a video conference with my doctor yesterday morning, and she said, we're going to wait 4 more days to make sure that you're 100%. I will give the secret, zinc. Zinc, you need to be taking zinc if you come as a protection measure, and vitamin C and vitamin D. I was on that before, and once I was diagnosed, my doctor said to up it to 50 milligrams a day and double my vitamin C and vitamin D. And I had minimal symptoms. I'm not going to say that that's going to be effective for everybody. It's just what my experience has been.
Yeah, we've, Rob and Catherine, all of us, and I've actually traveled a couple of times since coronavirus, and we've not gotten, at least to the best of our knowledge, but we're on like a full gram of vitamin C a day, 5,000 units a D. We're on zinc and some other stuff, and it's like, yeah, we're just now. Will this stuff completely keep you from getting it? No, but like you'd said, Rob, I think it's if you look at it this way, there's no downside to taking it. There's
No.
really not, and especially the vitamin C. We are just now, as a science community, beginning to understand how powerful vitamin C is.
Well,
The only thing is you drink a lot of water.
and you have to drink a lot of water. And I'll tell you this, I asked yesterday, what is the benefits of zinc? So zinc has properties that keeps the virus from, what's the word I'm looking for?
Replicating. Yeah.
Replicating. Yeah, it keeps it from replicating inside of your body. So the more that you take, the more, and you don't need to overdose. You need to take as much as the doctor tells you, which is 50 milligrams a day is what all you need. And it will kill the virus quicker than it would if you weren't taking anything.
I think what's been amazing to see with this particular disease modality is the fact how fast it replicates. And so anytime you can slow that down a bit to allow your body to mount a really good defense is ideal. And that's what all these little vitamins and stuff are for. They're not going to cure it. They're not going to keep you from getting it. It's just when you do get it, it's going to be a very mild case. And
you hope.
well, yeah, one hopes, right? We still don't understand the difference between who gets it in a mild case and who gets it in the most severe case, even in each age bracket. So, yeah, we're doing the exact same thing. So, if you guys really want, you can follow a lot of this stuff that gets into the science over at Peak Prosperity. I'll share that link. Chris Martenson was doing a science update every day until a few weeks ago, and now he's just doing it. Tuesdays and Thursdays. But if you want to follow these guys, he's unlike a lot of the stuff you guys are seeing that's put out there on YouTube. Chris Martenson has a PhD from Duke in pathology, so he actually understands the science. This isn't some weirdo conspiracy guy, but yeah, I highly recommend you guys follow this. He's got a whole thing on what he's doing to ensure that he doesn't get sick, or when he does, it's going to be a lower tier virus. So
there's one more thing I kind of want to share, and it kind of freaked me out, but it is a reportable disease to the health department. Mm-hmm. So if anybody's watching this anytime in the future and you end up getting a phone call from the Harris County Health Department, be accommodating, because they're just trying to help you and help the situation. I was very shocked that they had my information, and they explained very calmly and nice, hey, this is why we're doing this. We're trying to trace this to try to minimize what's going on. And I was as helpful as I could be to them. You got to understand that everybody's trying to do at this point in time is eliminate this thing.
Yeah. And there's a lot, I'll tell you the other thing, Rob, there's a lot we don't know. So there's a lot of like when you get chicken pox, the reason we had to come up with a vaccine for chicken pox is because you get shingles. It changes to shingles later in life. So we don't know the chronic effects of this thing. And yeah, I think what you guys are doing makes sense to me. I'm sure it totally sucks, right? You got to quarantine in your own home.
Yeah, it does. I'll tell you the worst part about it is psychological. And, I've been to combat 5 times, and I have actually told one of my neighbors, this was probably one of the most hated psychological events that I've ever had to go through. Mm-hmm. You wake up every morning, you're wondering, is today going to be the day that I take a turn for the worse? Mm-hmm. Is today the day that I'm going to end up in the hospital? Or better yet, is today the day that one of my family members I gave it to because I didn't know I had it, and they're going to take a turn for the worse? And that's still kind of going on every day. Every morning I wake up and I ask my wife, how you feeling? You feeling okay? You need anything? We're still, sleeping in different parts of the house just to be sure. But, it's scary, and you know, if you love your family, like if you didn't know, I have a 7-month-old, and my family's everything to me. And I'm telling you right now, if anything happened to them, I'd probably lose my mind. So that's
How awful is it too? Because then you can absolutely say, oh man, I was the one. I ended up bringing it home, right? That's the painful part. Well, I just put the Jet Lending website in there. Do you want to? What other kind of contact info do you want to give them, Rob? You've got access to the chat too on your side. If you want to add any info.
I mean, if anybody's got a deal that they need, they can call me at this number. We evaluate the deal. I'm gonna also put in some basic information we asked for real quick. Y'all can copy this down and email it to me, or cut and paste and put it in some notes, whatever you got to do. But this is some very, very simple information, and all you got to do is just answer these questions right here, and we will. I mean, we can get you an evaluation back within 24 hours. I mean, heck, I've got 3 of them that have popped up in the last 20 minutes, you know. So,
I imagine you guys could just search your CRM now and say, oh yeah, we lent on the one 3 doors down. You guys got to have a pretty big database.
No, that's the great thing about Teams, because all we got to do is place the address in, the street address, and see if we've loaned on or pulled comps on anything, you know, in that area. And it's very helpful because it's automatic access to those comps, because Teams keeps it forever. So.
All right, Rob, I appreciate any other questions, comments you guys have. I think we got to all of them. Let me look.
Last minute comments, last minute questions.
So this will be available on YouTube. It's already up streaming live on YouTube. So if you guys want to watch it later, Rob, I'll send you the link. I think I put it on my personal YouTube. I'll switch it over to our business one. So I'll send you guys the link so you can watch the replay. But Rob, thanks for coming on. And
it was great, man. I appreciate it.
Guys, we're still buying and flipping stuff. They're still lending to us. So go out and buy some stuff.
Yeah, hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully that little tidbit about my personal experience, hopefully that's helpful for everybody, you know, and the word will get out there. Maybe you and I can slow this thing down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm, you know, I still go out. In fact, I'm going out for lunch today, but I'm really tired of going to restaurants and of course, no bars, you know, no sports, nothing, restaurant with 10 people in it. And you're like, where is everybody? It's crazy. It really is. It just, I never thought in a million years it would be like this. It really is weird.
Well, Jason, you have a good day. Don't want to keep you from your next webinar. I know you're going right into it, but appreciate the time today and thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks for coming on, and we will see you guys later.
All right.